Paid $847 driving for Uber, but there are three things that I wish I'd known before I got started. One of them nearly made me quit. End of this video, you'll know exactly what to do and what to avoid before you even accept your first trip. Let's get into more of what is Uber, just in case you haven't heard of the rideshare company. It's a rideshare company that allows you the flexibility to work your own schedule. You can work full time, you can work part time, you can be a seasonal employee. It just depends on what you're looking to gain out of becoming a rideshare driver. So let's dive right into it. Mistake number one that I made was thinking that I needed to accept every ride. Now, Uber does have different analytics available in their app that let you know your acceptance rate. And so once you're looking at that, you kind of feel the pressure of wanting to accept every ride. But in order to be profitable as a rideshare driver driving for Uber, it simply does not make sense to accept every ride. So as you're starting out, you definitely want to accept the rides that make sense for you. Some rideshare drivers like to stay in an area where they live. Some only like to do long rides, just kind of depends on your specific preference. Mistake number two that I made was just allowing anyone to come in the car with anything. So, say for example, food, drinks, things of that nature. You're just wanting to be nice and accepting and inviting people into your car. So, a lot of times you're nervous to say no. There's no eating, there's no drinking in the vehicle. And let's just be honest, people do not respect your property because it's not theirs, right? So some people will take advantage of that, will leave messes behind, and you're constantly cleaning your car because what happens is by the time you've dropped someone off and you're on to your next passenger, you may get a bad rating because you forgot to kind of look back and see that the passenger before them just left a complete mess. So I would advise to set the rules, set the standards, telling everyone, hey, there's no eating, there's no drinking in the vehicle. That way you can keep a crystal clean car. And if you are shy and that kind of bothers you, what you can do is you can go on Amazon, you can go on um, different sites to find signs. And what I'll do is I'll link some of those signs here in the video where you can get those, add them in your vehicle, and it kind of just takes away that conversation of having to tell people, hey, no eating, no drinking. Hopefully, this is hopefully, they will see the sign and respect what you're asking of them while they're in your vehicle. Now, let's be real. Will it work all the time? Absolutely not. There's still going to be people that see that sign and be like, that doesn't pertain to me, and I'm going to do my own thing. So just be mindful of that. You may still have to, nudge and let a couple of people know, hey, these are my rules. Please respect my rules. Or, I may have to go ahead and end your ride because you're not respecting the rules that I set for you being a guest in my vehicle. Because at the end of the day, they are a guest in your vehicle and you want to make them feel accepted and welcome. But once again, they're a guest in your vehicle, especially if you're using your own vehicle. To make sure your vehicle clean and stays in top-notch shape. So you make sure that people are abiding by the rules you set. The third mistake that I made was taking trips that were not in areas that I'm familiar with. So I drive once again in the Dallas Fort Worth. I drove in the Dallas Fort Worth area. Um, some trips, the money, the pay, the amount of the ride may look good. So you accept that and you drive. And then, as you're driving out and taking a look around, you see that the area is not somewhere that you particularly want to be. And so you have to be mindful of that, as you're seeing requests come on the screen. You definitely want to take a look at that, analyze that, look at the area that it's going to, and see if it's something that you're comfortable with. Because at the end of the day, you do want to make sure that you're safe. So you want to analyze that ride just before accepting it and making sure that it's something that you're fully comfortable with taking. You've heard the three mistakes that I've made. I'll share with you how I fixed those mistakes and how I was able to generate the income of $847 within the week. Now, I do want to do a simple disclaimer. This is not going to be typical for each and every person. You have to find your own method and find what works for you. Some people prefer to work at night. Some people prefer to work throughout the day. Some people have, make this a part-time job. Now, I was doing this full-time for 30 over 37 hours, so there may be an income discrepancy just depending on the amount of time you're looking to go out and work. So let's dive into it. February 2nd through February the 9th, you'll see that I did work 6 out of the 7 days of the week for 37 hours, took 29 trips. These points equate to different things that you can earn within the Uber ecosystem, but that's not something that I worry about. But it is going to show you the net fare and break down a few more things. So once again, I want to put a disclaimer. These results are not typical. It just depends on the amount of time you're looking to drive. This was for 37 hours. So if you're driving for 10 hours a week, don't expect this type of income. This is a full-time job that I was doing, going out here as a full-time independent contractor for Uber. So that's why this income is like this. And also, I know there may be people that say, I make a ton more than this. That is great for you. I'm congratulating you. So this, I'm just sharing what I made during this time frame. I have had weeks where I make well over this amount, but we are using this particular week as an example. So we're take a look. We're looking at the net fare here. The other earnings are typically some promotions that Uber may have, and then also tips. So tips, we are told that we receive 100% of the tips. I cannot verify all of that information, but I'm just going by what Uber shares with the driver community. But that amount is showing the tips that I received for that week. Here, these are the various preferences that you can set up in the app. So you can set up, Uber has, of course, deliveries. They have where you can have Uber Pet. You can pick up, passengers and their pets. Uber X, it just kind of depends on what type of vehicle you have for the different programs. So Uber Comfort, that's normally going to be for your um, newer vehicles that have extended leg space in the back. Uber XL, depending on if you have a larger car as in an SUV. So, depending on the type of car that you plug into the app, you'll have different opportunities available to you. Continue to scroll through the app, and like I said, I want you to see a couple of the options available to you. So there is a filter that you can toggle on that says you accept cash. And so if you decide to accept cash, that passenger pays you in cash, and if there's any change that is due to the passenger, if you don't have any cash, it can be calculated out of your earnings through Uber. For me, I never did cash trips. I just did not want to be liable for having cash on me and the honesty of the passenger. We hope everyone has high integrity, but I did not want to be responsible for someone saying I gave her $20. My ride was $3. I'm due $17 and change, and that was just not true. So I don't know all the facts on accepting cash. I've never done it, but it's just something that I never felt comfortable with. I never wanted to be on the road with unfamiliar people, as in passengers, with large amount of cash on me. Also, as a woman driver, I do have the woman rider preference. I can request to be only paired with women, and women can request that in the app as well. Some women just feel more comfortable with a woman driver, and so they can request that option in their app. You also can request a particular rider rating. So if you want to say I only want to accept, well, let's start here. 5 star is the highest rating. So if you want to say, I only want to accept someone with a 4.7 or higher, you can toggle that feature on in the app. Me particularly, I don't like to take anyone lower than the 4.7. That's why I use that example. Drivers are able to rate every passenger as they leave your vehicle and the ride is ended. We can rate the passengers just like the passengers can rate the driver. So if someone is constantly getting low scores and they kind of fall under that 4.7 mark, they are going to be a problem passenger. More than likely, they're going to be a problem passenger. Majority of drivers are rating them low. So there's a problem there, red flag, right? Um, I have seen requests come in as low as a 4.3, 4.4, and that's red flag to me. That is a no, no, no. I will not pick up that passenger because once again, there's multiple drivers that have rated them bad, whether it's them having a nasty attitude, whether it's them trying to, eat in your car, whatever the case may be, they have been kind of deemed as a problem passenger, and I just don't want to deal with that, right? You do have the option of getting requests only for the passengers that fit in the criteria that you set. Not least, we have the teen requests. So typically, the teens, anyone under the age of 18 is supposed to be on the teen request where their parents set up their accounts, and you can toggle that on if you want to pick up teens, pick up people under the age of 18. I believe it goes all the way down to 13. I don't do this as well. I just don't feel comfortable driving around minors. And once again, that's just a preference for me. Now, does everyone follow the rules and use the teen request as they should? Absolutely not. You'll still, on occasion, depending on what type of ride you're taking, will receive a request from minors. So you may receive a request at a high school. You may receive a request as a middle school. You may go to someone's home to pick them up and you see an underage minor coming out to the car. I've even had instances where I've went to pick someone up and someone put in their children that were about 5 and 6 into the car, buckled them up and told them have a good day. And I said, absolutely not. I will not take your young children to school. Wanted me to take them to school and not come with me. Absolutely not. I am not being responsible for your children. And as a parent, in my opinion, you shouldn't just put them in a car with a stranger. So, you do have to be an advocate for yourself as a rideshare driver. I can't stress that enough. Want to put yourself in not so comfortable situations if something happened. What if, parents said something happened to one of the children? What if you got into a car accident and you're just there with those children? You want to be mindful that, your reputation is on the line, and you just want to make sure that you're always thinking in the back of your head, I need to protect myself. Last few things I will show in the app are the safety toolkit, which can be found on the home screen in the Uber app. So if you're ever in a compromising position, you feel unsafe, there is a 911 assist that you can click here and it will route the police to your location. Record my ride. I always toggle that on so your audio is always being recorded. The passenger will know as well that, hey, while you're in this ride, all audio is recorded. Once again, it's a measure to protect yourself. Follow my ride. You can have a family member on with this. You can have a family member attached to this. So just say your spouse, your children. While you're out driving, they can see where you're located. So, hey, you picked up someone, you took them to the airport. They can just click on that follow my ride and see exactly where you're at all times. Right. And then we have the PIN verification. Now you can set this up as a driver and the passengers can set it up as well. It's very beneficial to have it set up just because you want to ensure you are picking up the right person. I've had times where the wrong person has gotten in my car. We've started driving and then it's like, oh, aha moment, you're not who you say you are. Even though you verified all information and made sure you're going to the right destination, some people still, get into the wrong vehicle. So once you have this PIN verification filter on, it gives a 4-digit number that they have to verify before you can even drive off. If the PIN is incorrect, it will not allow you to start that ride. Status, once again, if you're in a compromising permission, some he say, she say stuff going on, you can show this as your proof to law enforcement, kind of just another measure to have your back. And if you are in a crash while you're doing rideshare, Uber does have insurance that protects the driver, so you want to report that so that claim can get filed and you start to be worked, right? You need to, if Uber's your, especially if Uber's your only source of income, you need to get back out on the road as soon as possible. We have the safety hub is where you can look at some settings you have set up and toggle on some more if you want to. Now that I've showed you some of the mistakes I made and showed you around the app a little bit, it will help you become more comfortable with taking your first Uber ride. Video has been helpful with you making the decision if you want to drive with Uber. I will drop in the comments below the Uber link for you to get started. Also, I have an ebook available called the Gig Workers Playbook. How to stack apps, maximize earnings, stop leaving money on the table. You made it all the way to the end of the video. So what you need to do now is make sure you follow and take a look around because I'll be sharing other gig opportunities that I've done so you can see which one may be a great fit for you or how to stack these opportunities to make the most money. Sinclair, see you on the next video.